The Carolina Panthers are having what many would consider to be the greatest offseason in the history of the franchise. Not only have we been able to draft a young, dynamic rookie QB wide receiver combo, but we were able to fill out many, not all, but many of our needed positions with the rest of our draft picks and throughout this free agency period. Unfortunately, one of the most glaring weaknesses that we had over the last few years was not directly addressed adequately, in my opinion. So in this video, I'm going to let you all know and give you all my thoughts on whether or not the Carolina Panthers throughout this offseason have done a good enough job supplying this defensive line with somebody that can blitz the QB opposite of Brian Burns. And we're going to get into that right after this.
From the foe, you dig?
Welcome to The Way I See It with Jamario Rashad. This is a Carolina Panthers fan channel. Please do me a favor by hitting the like button and please make sure you subscribe as I am on my road to 2K, trying to get my channel popping before these games start next year. Now that that's out of the way, let's go ahead and get to this story, my thoughts, whatever you want to call it. Now, to dive right into it, Brian Burns has been a staple of this defensive line since he was drafted about 4 years ago, and he is entering a contract year, or we could potentially extend him before the season comes in this offseason. But we have not been able to adequately supply this line, or at least keep somebody on this defensive line opposite of him that can provide pressure that makes his job any easier. And over this past season in 2022, that was very glaring, more so than any other time since Brian Burns has been drafted. In 2022, Brian Burns was the only Carolina Panthers edge player or edge rusher that had more than 5 sacks. The Carolina Panthers as a team were ranked 26th in the entire league in sacks with only 35. And the thing about this, the thing that made this so hurtful, was the Carolina Panthers let go of a great pass rusher that became a potential defensive player of the year candidate the very next year to let somebody that they thought potentially would break out this year get more snaps. And he had been a complete bust. He was drafted 38th overall in just three short years ago, that being Ejiro Evero. This isn't about him, and I'm not even going to harp on just how bad that is, man. So that gives you all a little context into just how bad this Carolina Panthers defensive line has been in terms of pass rush pressure, pass rush wins, and just how good they are at getting to the quarterback. So we've been through the NFL draft now at this point in the offseason. We've been through majority of the free agency period. It's still open, of course, but the big time part of free agency is behind us now. So have the Carolina Panthers done an adequate job of filling out this position to be able to make Brian Burns' job any easier? My answer to that is kinda, sorta. So I'm gonna give you yes, and I'm also gonna give you why no. So first of all, why yes? The addition of Ejiro Evero as the defensive coordinator, by proxy or just by him being a perceived force multiplier, should make the bodies that we already have in-house better than what they currently were without him. So to give you a little status or a little peek behind the curtain as to just how effective Ejiro Evero is as a defensive coordinator, in 2022, he was the defensive coordinator of the Denver Broncos, the pedestrian on offense, the absolutely could not score any points, just trash with Russell Wilson on offense, Denver Broncos, who left the defense to be out there for majority of the snaps, defending and just trying their best to not give up 100 points a game, being out there for so little time of possession that the offense could keep. So please keep that in mind. But Ejiro Evero and the Denver Broncos were 6th in total passing TDs last year. They were 13th in total passing yards allowed, and they were 9th in total passing first downs allowed. And that just gives you a little peek into how good he will be. And if I were to ask you all right now, the people watching this video, to name the individuals that were blitzing on the Denver Broncos, you could probably only name one person being Bradley Chubb. And I bring that up to say he was able to get this type of production out of relative no names around the league, and especially here in Carolina, or most specifically in my head, I didn't know who any of those guys outside of Bradley Chubb was when I looked into it. But he was able to get his unit to effectively pass the QB game in and game out, man. So I want to give you all a little breakdown as to how those numbers went, or how his pass rushing stats broke down with the Denver Broncos in 2022. 13 different players on the Denver Broncos defense had a sack. 10 of those players had multiple sacks. Now, he is able, what does that mean? That means that he is able to scheme up just about anybody that plays defensive line to be able to come up and get sacks within his defense. So with that being the case, with us not bringing in any actual veteran presence on the exterior, be it an edge position, as majority of the people we have brought in the 3-4 are going to be playing the interior guys, I guess the grade on this, or what I would have to say, is this is going to be incomplete until I see just how great of an impact he's actually able to have on the bodies that we already have in-house, be it Yetur Gross-Matos. Is he actually a bust, or was it just coaching? Is and should Marcus Haynes be the starter? Is Amari Barno a dog? What do we have in DJ Johnson? We will be able to see it when the season comes around, but unfortunately his impact will not be able to be felt until we are able to see the games on Sunday and watch the tape, and all of those type things. So Ejiro Evero makes me think that this defense, or the pass rush, could potentially be better, but you never know. But the second thing that gives me hope and makes me lean towards yes was a little snippet in an interview that I got from new Carolina Panthers defensive line coach Todd Walsh, former defensive coordinator of the Jacksonville Jaguars. He is now the current defensive line coach here, coming over from the Detroit Lions. He had this to say about breakout star, big man in the middle, Carolina Panthers defensive tackle Derrick Brown. In the offseason, he said, quote, "The biggest thing we're going to start working is the pass rush side of things," end quote. If you know anything about Derrick Brown, you will know that he was an absolute beast when it came to stopping the run all throughout last year. But even to this point in his career, I don't know if he has ever had more than one sack. I think he had just one sack last year. And then you look at the other side of the spectrum, and you look at the other dominant defensive tackles. Yes, they can stop the run, but they are also able to get to the quarterback as well. So with this guy being a part of Evero's staff, if they're able to actually work this part of his game, and he is able to in any way, shape, or form get his pass rushing ability to level out with his run stop ability, unbiased opinion, being a Carolina Panthers fan and all, I think we could get Frank Clark levels of production out of Derrick Brown when it comes to the pass rush game, and that's just real, man. So those are the two things that make me feel positively towards if this defensive line has actually improved in the offseason. But so that's why yes. But why I say no, and I think why many people would say no, man, is we did not bring in any veteran presence to play opposite of Brian Burns. I do not care to hear the argument about coaching very often, because I understand the nuances of it, but coaches do not get their asses out there on the field and make tackles. They do not have to stay swole in the offseason. They do not have to swim move. They do not have to spin. They don't got to do none of that. They just have to scheme up stuff. You need the guys that are actually able to go out there and execute the game plan effectively and above average, and like to an excellent level, to actually make me believe that we have improved. And I don't think that we've brought in anybody that's proven enough to say that would be the case in any way, shape, or form. I bring up in just about 1 out of every 3 videos I bring up Hassan Reddick, and until this new season gets here, I'm probably still going to continue to bring it up. In 2021, before this most recent season, the Carolina Panthers ended the year with the second best defense in the entire NFL, and majority of that, or a large portion of that responsibility pie, would go to the offseason acquisition of Hassan Reddick and the midseason acquisition of Stephon Gilmore to play cornerback. The veteran leadership and the veteran veteran bodies make the young guys better. It makes them able to learn on the fly, and it also puts somebody that has been there, done that. Also, maybe they're up there a little bit in age, but they have had the experience to be able to play through whatever step that they have lost. And I don't think that the Carolina Panthers have done that in any way, shape, or form. We've brought in Deshaun Williams, who had 4.5 sacks in this Ejiro Evero system last year for the Denver Broncos, and we've brought in Shy Tuttle. But as I mentioned earlier, those are 2 guys that are going to be playing more towards the interior of this defense. I am more so, and this video is more so focused on whether or not the overall pass rush is better, but more specifically, if we can get guys off the edge to be effective in this system, because that is what the 3-4 calls for, and we just haven't signed anybody that I think is able to do that. Now, many people are going to want to talk about DJ Johnson. I'm going to be quick on my thoughts on him. I will say this: yes, he has the measurables that are perfect for this 3-4 system. He showed the ability to be a stand-up rush outside linebacker during his one breakout season at Oregon. But again, I have to mention, he's only had 1 actual year of production as at the pass rush position. He was asked to switch to the complete other side of the ball for 2 years of his college career at Oregon, switching over to tight end, not playing both ways, but switching completely over to tight end. And we are getting a guy that is still raw with only 1 year of production that many people consider to be a reach. I'm not going to call him that until I see what he can do on the field. But what most people are banking on with DJ Johnson is his measurables. The last thing I'm going to say on that is go look at his measurables, and then go look at Yetur Gross-Matos' measurables, and then come back and tell me what you think. And we're going to just leave it at that. So what should the Carolina Panthers do about this, man? I have one name in mind. It used to be 2, but now I have it down to simply just 1. They need to go out and they need to sign Leonard Floyd. It is what it is. He is the best player available currently still to have not signed with a team. He is only 30 years old. He is coming off a 9-sack season. Over the last 3 years, he has had 9+ sacks 3 straight years. He is a Super Bowl champion, winning the 2021 Super Bowl with the Los Angeles Rams, and he was in fact an impact player in that Super Bowl. He had a sack in the Super Bowl. He had pass breakups. You could watch the film of him dropping back into coverage. He has just been able to be everything on that team. And just as I said, keep into context about the Denver Broncos, when it comes to Leonard Floyd, also keep in mind that this is on a team that had Von Miller on the other side and Aaron Donald coming through the middle. In no way, shape, or form am I saying that the guys that we have on our team are comparable to 2 future Hall of Famers in Von Miller and Aaron Donald. But if Derek Brown can get his shit together and we can get Brian Burns to just continue to be Brian Burns, these guys can be elite. Go get Leonard Floyd. Now, according to SpotRack, his current market value would be about 3 years, $41 million. That averages out to 13.7 per year. Currently, the Carolina Panthers have the second most cap space in the NFL with $27 million. So signing this guy to this deal or anything close to it would be nothing, man. So that is what I think the Carolina Panthers should do, man. But those are my thoughts on whether or not the Carolina Panthers have adequately did enough to help Brian Burns out with this pass rushing coming into this upcoming 2023 year. You all leave your comments down below. Do you think Derrick Brown's going to take a jump? Do you think Gross Matos, Barno, Johnson? Do you just think that we haven't done enough and this is just something that's a little flying under the radar due to how much new excitement we got because we have a new QB? Whatever you all think, man, leave your comments down in the comments section. And with that being said, I am Jamario Rashad. This is the way I see it, and I'm out. Peace.